Dear students, so today we will talk about decision making without probabilities, and after that one we will talk about decision making with probabilities with respect to the profit, and then decision making with probability with respect to the cost. So let's see that what are the decision making without probabilities and how can we resolve it. There are three decision-making approaches. The first one is called Maximax approach, which is also called optimistic approach. Second is called a Maximin approach, which is called pessimistic approach or conservative approach. And third is called minimax, which is called regret approach or opportunity loss. So first we will discuss the first two, Maximax and Maximin, and then you will see that how we can calculate it. So this table is called payoff table for economy of the different countries. Let's suppose the green one is about the Saudi Arabia economy, which is growing. Then we have for Bahrain, which is a stable one, and then for Ukraine, which is declining, right? So and these are we have different alternatives where to invest with respect to the profit, right? So either should we invest in bonds, either should we invest in stock or in the mutual fund. These are the three alternatives we need to choose of, but these are without probabilities. We don't have specific information related to the probabilities. So for the profit, if you see over here, for Saudi Arabia, the profit we are getting in the bonds is 40, in stock is 70, and in mutual fund is 53. For Bahrain is $45 or Saudi Riyal, or for Bahrain is 30, and for the stock exchange is 30, and for mutual fund is $45. And similarly for Ukraine is the profit is 5 on the bonds, but in stock it is like in declining minus 13, and in mutual fund is minus 5, right? So now we need to see that according to the optimistic approach, Maximax. So what are our decision and where should we invest, right? So this green one is Maximax approach, and you will see that how can we apply and how can we. This one we can see over here that. How we got this 45. So 45 is basically the highest in the bonds we have here. So you see for the different economies for Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, and Ukraine. So the highest profit is for Bahrain. So we choose 45 here. In stocks, so the highest out of these three is Saudi Arabia, which is 70. And in the mutual fund, the highest profit we can get is 53, right? So in these highest, like we will see that in these highest, the most highest one is in the stock, which is 70. So our decision will be to invest in the stocks, right? So this is our final decision, and this approach is called optimistic approach. Now we will see the Maximin. So in the maximum is a down approach, or we call it the best of the worst, right, case. So we will see that what is the best of the worst case. In the bonds for the different countries, we will see that the lowest one is for Ukraine. Okay, so we chose the lowest one, okay, and then we have, like, the lowest one in the stock is for Ukraine again, right, and similarly the lowest for the mutual fund is the Ukraine again, right. So we have these three choices. So out of these three choices, the maximum in these minimum are bonds, right? So 5 is the answer for that one. So our decision would be to invest in bonds if we don't have other choice, right? So this approach is called the pessimistic approach or conservative approach. Now we have the third most important thing is minimax, which is called a regret approach. In the minimax, what we do it, we have a little bit, like, little bit lengthy process. In that one, what we do it, we in the previous one, we see the maximum one in the Saudi Arabia. So the maximum in the Saudi Arabia is 70, right? So we pick this 70 and minus with the everyone. So 70 minus 40, okay, and then we say 70 minus 70 from themselves, okay, and then we see 70 minus 53, right? So we got another this table, payoff table or regret table we call it, right? So this is called the regret table, and in this regret table we have to select the best one. So similarly for Bahrain, we will see that which one is the maximum. So we have to 45 and 45 repeating, so we can choose any one of it, and after choosing any one of it, so we will minus every value from it. So 45 minus 45, 45 minus 30, and then 45 minus 45. So we got this one. Now we will check for Ukraine which one is the highest. 5 is the highest here out of these three. So we choose this one, and in the regret table we 5 minus 5, and then we make it 5 minus 13, because minus minus become plus, so that becomes 18. And then we have minus 5 minus 5, so the maximum minus 5, and then we got 10. So now in this table, it's a regret table. What we have to do now, we need to select the bond one. In the bond one, we need to see that which one is the maximum, right? So 30 is the maximum in the bonds in the regret table. In the stock, maximum is like for the Ukraine, so we got this one. And for the mutual fund, the maximum is for Saudi Arabia, right? So okay, say, so in this, the maximum we have found it, the optimal solution, and in this optimal solution, then we choose the minimum, because we need to choose minimax. So minimax means the minimum of the maximum, right? So our decision would be to invest in the mutual fund. So this is about decision making without probabilities. Now let's see that how can we do with probabilities. So what I will do, I will just change one, like this row, row number 12, and I will add probability. Probability for Saudi Arabia is 0.2, probability for Bahrain is 0.5, probability for Ukraine is 0.3 over here. Now with this one, so I need to do some calculation over here, and this decision making with probabilities is also called decision making under the risk, and this is for profit scenario. So profit case is different, and for cost is different. So the cost I will find later on, but I will find that for the cost. So in the cost, what I have, what I have to do, I have to find the two values, which one is called expected value or expected monetary value, which is a weighted average for payoffs for the decision alternatives. So basically our purpose in this one is to find EVPI. So what is EVPI and what is the formula of it? The formula is very short. So this formula is this one. So EVPI is equal to EV with perfect information and EV without perfect information. So we need to find this one. So how can we find it? So it's very simple. We need two processes. The first process is to find the EV, like without perfect, because initially we don't have perfect information. So what we do it in this formula, we do very simple. We take this probability, multiply with this one, right, with the bonds in Saudi Arabia. Then we take the probability, multiply with the bonds in Bahrain, and then we take the respective probability and apply with the bonds in Ukraine, right? So by this way, this is the equation we have it, and we will get this value. And similarly, we will multiply the probabilities with respective stocks values, okay, and we'll get this value, EMV value. And similarly, last we will do the same thing for mutual funds and multiply with the probabilities, respective probabilities, right? So for Saudi Arabia, probability is this one, 0.2, for Bahrain is 0.5, and for Ukraine is 0.3. So when we get this value, we need to choose the maximum one for the profit case. But in the cost case, we need to choose the lowest value. So this is the one tip you need to know for your exams. Second most important thing, then now we have probabilities and we have perfect information. So for perfect information, what we have to do, we will not take all the probabilities. We will choose the best one. So the best probability in Saudi Arabia is 70. Best probability, best value in Bahrain is 45, the profit one, and the best profit in Ukraine is 5, right? So I will take this value for the perfect information. So in Saudi Arabia, this is 70 multiplied by the respective probability. In Bahrain, the maximum is 45 and the respective probability is 0.5. And for Ukraine, the maximum profit is 5 and the respective probability is 0.3. So in every case, I chose the one, right? I did not choose the all. So I chose the one. When I did this calculation, so I got my EM, expected value, EV value with perfect information. So I have now both values. 32 is without perfect information, and this one 38 is with perfect information, and this should be under the modulus, right? So the answer is 6. So my answer is 6 over here. Now I do it with the cost. So cost is totally different. In the cost, we have to look for the minimum one. We will apply the same process. For example, this is the cost for transferring your product from one place to another. Let's suppose from Bahrain to Saudi Arabia, from Saudi Arabia to Oman and from Oman to Qatar, right? So what are the different cost levels? So for S1, for like states 1, S1 is this one, for S2 is this one, and for S3 is this column. Now we will find similarly the probabilities. So we have to find the cost for D1 and multiply with the respective probability. So when I say respective means the probability under each case. So for S1 the respective is 0.3, for S2 the respective is 0.5, and for S3 the respective probability is 0.2. So we need to multiply this one and we will get this answer. And for EMV value for a D2 is this one, and EMV value for D3 is this one, right? So when we found it, so this is the case for cost. So you see over here I wrote for you cost, right? So when is the case for cost, so what I have to do, I need to pick the lowest value, not the highest. In profit we need to take the highest value, in the cost we need to take the lowest value. So I got this one. So this is my EV without perfect information. So this is my EV without perfect information, right? Okay, so yeah, so this value is wrong. This is not for it, this is the previous one. Okay, right? So you can see over here now how to find the one which is perfect with perfect information. So the with perfect information means I need to choose the lowest one. So lowest one is 5 here, so I just make it like right, so that because it's the lowest one here is 9 here, I need to pick this one in S2, and the lowest one here is 8, so I need to pick this one, right? So I have three options, so I just drag the values here, 5 here, okay, 9 here and 8 here, and multiply with the respective probabilities. So when I multiply it, I got is 7.6, right? So when I got 7.6, so I just put in this equation 7.6 minus 10.7, so this is my 10.7. So without perfect information and with perfect information, so I got minus 3.1. So since I have a modulus, so the good thing in a modulus is that it dissolved the negative value, so you got the positive value. So in the cost, you always the expected value without perfect information must be greater than expected value with imperfect information. While in the profit one, it will be reverse. Here expected value with perfect information will be always be greater than expected value with perfect information. So thank you very much. In the next video, I will talk about the decision tree and with respect to this scenario. Thank you very much.